My name is Caroline Pitt, and I'll be discussing our work on connected learning collapsed context, examining teens' sociotechnical ecosystems through the lens of digital badges. Today's youth are more involved in the digital world than ever, but that involvement takes very specific and somewhat circumscribed forms depending on the intended audience, creating a sharp divide between their social and academic worlds online. In our increasingly connected and surveilled world, youth have few places to call their own, causing them to jump from platform to platform and use creative measures like creating multiple accounts, for instance, the Finsta phenomenon, where youth often have fake Instagram accounts. Meanwhile, researchers and practitioners constantly attempt to find ways to connect with youth, adding social media elements to academic technologies. We draw on research by Dana Boyd, Mimi Ito, Davis and Jurgensen, and others to examine the complex tension that exists between connected learning and context collapse. In this paper, we address three main research questions. One, how do youth collapse and separate their online contexts, particularly around professional academic versus personal social boundaries? Two, what tensions do youth navigate in their socio-technical daily rounds, particularly surrounding identity and context collapse? And three, how might connected learning technologies such as badges be incorporated into teens' socio-technical ecosystems in a way that supports their learning and identities while respecting their boundaries? This work takes place within a larger study on the design and implementation of digital badges at a science center in the Pacific Northwest. Using participatory design methods, we've worked to create a digital badging system drawing on connected learning that allows youth to share their accomplishments. This timeline provides some context for the case studies discussed in this work. Throughout the study, we've explored how youth science identities are complexly built and intertwined as they navigate the rich socio-technical ecosystems of modern life. We want to understand how technologies like badges can be used to support identity development. So, for the past 5 years, we've worked with youth directly to design a badge system, and now we're interested in why they use these badges and why they don't. After examining in detail how to implement a badge system, see Pitt et al. 2019, we're now looking towards longer term impacts and sustainability. Thus, to better understand how digital badges featured in youth socio-technical ecosystems and how they might be better incorporated and implemented, we conducted case studies with several youth from the project. After an initial interview, we observed the youth at the Science Center and in their neighborhoods. Then we conducted ecological momentary assessments over a period of a couple of months. Lastly, we conducted a wrap-up interview with each participant. With this data, we were able to create rich profiles of the 6 youth featured in the paper, learning how technology factored into their daily day-to-day lives. Using the research team's analytical memos and qualitative coding of the dataset, we were able to draw out some themes and insights that we believe are valuable to a variety of designers, researchers, and practitioners, focusing on how to frame and implement social media for youth academic and professional development. Here are a few key findings from the study. While youth not wanting authority figures to be in their spaces is fairly well known, we discovered that youth siloed their social media profiles to a fairly extreme degree, often having multiple Instagram accounts and only using each of their social media accounts for a very specific friend group. Several participants were easily able to recount who they spoke to on which apps. There was also little use of professional social media, with academic achievements rarely being shared online. Though the participants were mostly college bound, they did not have professional facing social media. Relatedly, participants recounted a lot of don'ts and not a lot of do's from authority figures in regards to social media, thus, no positive examples of usage for professional purposes. In addition to the rich qualitative findings, we also came up with a few design recommendations. First, when involving youth, bring in the whole experience. Don't make assumptions about their lives and be aware that youth exist in complex ecologies, a more ecological perspective. Two, design for context collusion, not collision. Let youth decide where their contexts connect, creating what's referred to as context collusions. Don't cause unwanted context collapse between the personal and professional. And third, scaffold development of professional identity while allowing for personal customization. Make it easy to build professional identity online by presenting straightforward choices and lots of options for sharing where they want things to be shared. So that's all I have for right now. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you'll check out the paper for a great deal more detail. I'd like to thank my co-authors, the NSF for funding this work, and our participants